So there's one thing that really pisses me off in Nightreign that's not a big problem in the other Souls games. If you've played Souls games in the past, then you're probably pretty familiar with their environmental storytelling, which is like 10% cutscenes and 90% of the lore being dumped into random items. Normally this isn't that big of an issue, because the random lore you find hidden in these item descriptions isn't going to impact the overall story that much. The one place that this actually ends up being a big problem is in Nightreign. The main difference is the fact that in Nightreign, an entire run can take about an hour or so, whereas in a Souls game, getting through a boss fight might take like 4 or 5 minutes. Meaning, if you die to a boss in a Souls game, you can just respawn at the bonfire and try again, whereas in Nightreign, if you lose to the final boss, you have to start the run from day 1 all over again. The reason this is a big issue is because the Recluse has a questline that revolves around defeating the final Nightlord. On paper this sounds fine, because beating Nightlords is the whole point of the game in the first place. But the thing is, actually completing her questline involves doing something after beating the final Nightlord that you have to gather just from clues and hints in her Remembrance questline. The worst part is, after beating the final Nightlord, the game pretty much walks you towards getting the end credits and going into that cutscene. So instead, what you're supposed to do is ignore the obvious path in front of you and listen for a small audio cue to go into a different room to complete her questline. And it's so easy to miss that you would think you can just go back there and get the right cutscene this time, right? No, not at all. You have to go back through the entire run from start to finish and beat the Nightlord again, and this time, with that knowledge in hand, go into the correct room and get the right cutscene. And this is a huge pain in the ass because FromSoft's usual cryptic storytelling in their single-player games is totally fine, but it does not translate well to this kind of game. It seems like kind of a big oversight that you can meet all the requirements for the questline and just have to repeat that all over again. Honestly, it just feels like bad game design because of the fact that you can miss it so easily, and instead of having to go to some room to repeat the cutscene and finish the questline, needing to go back all the way through a run, which can take an hour or so, it seems kind of pointless because you've already met the requirements by beating him in the first place. I feel like either it should be a lot more obvious as to what you have to do in the first place, or they can give you a break and let you go back to that room to finish your questline and get that cutscene anyways. Honestly, maybe even just teleporting us to right after the boss fight so we can pick the right option this time. I don't think it's that complicated.